Hey everybody, I'm Lex.
I'm Jordan with PDQ.com.
We're going to be schooling today, or schuling.
There's no one more equipped to educate than Lex and I.
Oh,
I even said Lex and I. I'd use right grammar.
did you? Me and him and me, us.
Me and Lex are going to teach you about the learning.
I don't think
We're
you
going to
did.
learn you. That's how the schooling's going to go.
All right. So this is more about, there's a lot of system administrators who use our product that work at school districts, and taking a lot of time off, things might not be running tip-top.
They come back, and so you've got machines that are coming back from, being on vacation with the teachers. You've got yourself that hopefully has taken some good vacation. So first thing you probably want to do is verify that you actually have the latest and greatest version of PDQ Deploy and Inventory. And you will find that Jordan can just write down in the corner where it's by scan computers. Right down there, there'd be a link right where Jordan and I's heads are.
Oh, yeah?
Right.
Did I miss the
there
link?
it is. There it is. That's where it would be.
Yeah.
The other place you can go is go to help and check for updates. Okay, now just so you know, I think we had an update come out like mid-July, so if you haven't got it, get it.
I contributed.
You contributed? All right. Now, the second thing you're going to run into right now, computers, again, passwords expiring. Now, there's two different types. Obviously, there's user passwords and there's computer passwords, right?
Yeah, so if the computer password expires, it's going to lose trust in the domain, and you're not going to be able to connect it all to that.
I got to have some trust. Do you trust me?
Sometimes.
Sometimes.
To pour me a strong drink? Absolutely.
You definitely trust that. Well, that's good to trust. But all right, so we're going to show you how, one, to break a trust, and then we'll show you how to fix a trust. Sound good?
It works for me. So obviously, if you're going to break a trust, it's just a test. You don't want to do this for your production machines. You're going to have a bad time.
But you will. Will you? Yeah, okay, that'll be a bad thing. But we're doing this for you guys so we can show you.
And I'm going to use Bugs Bunny because you use that for all your demos.
That's my
You're
favorite
breaking
machine,
an
man.
already broken trust. That's the point. You're not breaking trust. Already broken.
I'm doing this just because this is the machine you use. And
That is evil, man.
you have to trust that I'm going to fix this.
I'm questioning all of a sudden.
That's a stretch.
You just broke my favorite machine, dude.
Yes, I did. So now if we remote into Bugs Bunny, it should give us there's a trust issue. Another user signed in.
Yeah.
What did you do?
What did I do? What did I do?
I don't know. And apparently I didn't break that trust at all.
That's what you get for messing with my machine.
I'm going to close this down and not use Bugs Bunny.
Okay. Well, see, we trust that Bugs is
Let's go
mine.
find one that we can break. Well,
That's from the
let's-
monitoring show, right?
Yeah, that's
It could have been, yeah. I think we used that
that
one
is
for
true. That is true.
that. Penelope, I need to see if this is one you broke the DNS for.
Did I break the DNS? Penelope.
Spoiler alert, we're going to go over DNS stuff in the future.
That is in the future, yes.
You guys practice.
We tried. That's where all the swearing came from earlier today. All right, so
All right, we're gonna
basically
try-
you're going to reset the account, which
You said the account should make that password invalid so it breaks the domain trust.
okay.
It didn't work great for Bugs Bunny, but we're going to try again.
Watch Monday when I'm doing my next demo. It'll be broken. I'm like, Jordan.
Well, you'll have the package pre-built.
That is true. I'll
And
be able
Guinness on how to fix it.
That's true.
Give this a shot. All right. I hate
Password
typing
one.
this password
Password
one.
one. Go.
The exclamation point makes it secure.
Does it? It does make it secure.
It's going to go through anyway. Okay, there we go.
Oh, there it is. Okay.
All right, trust this worked like 4 times.
Yesterday we broke all kinds of stuff.
All right, so the trust relationship means that the domain doesn't trust this machine. Something's different. We got to go through and fix that.
That is the computer password we were talking
computer
about.
password.
Okay.
All right, and the way to fix that is there a command within PowerShell that will already pre-built the test computer secure channel. Mm-hmm. This one will go through and will test it, and if you have the dash repair, that will fix it. Or you can do reset computer machine password. Mm-hmm. I can't find the difference in what both of these will fix it, so I just use the repair with test computer because I'm testing anyway. Just easier to add that in there. All right, so we're going to take this. We're going to build a package to send that over to I keep on saying Penelope, but Penelope.
So something to notice, you do need credentials to do this, and Jordan earlier encrypted the credentials because heaven forbid we put our credentials out there for all y'all to see. So this will work. You will be able to grab this, but you'll need to make sure you encrypt your credentials. Now, interestingly, in that fix trust, repair trust,
One of those.
it takes a reset to break trust. It just, we'll not go there, but okay. Now, when we deploy this, right?
So we're just going to send this one out to, see if I can spell it still. Nope.
Penelope. There you go.
And you're making sure to use the local credentials.
Oh, time out. You're gonna steal our thunder, man.
Spoiler.
Spoiler. We're gonna use, yeah.
All right, so we're going to send this out with the domain credentials just so we can see the error that pops up from that one. Just because domain credentials don't work, the trust is broken, and then we'll go over how we can send it out, still have it function, and then how you still have to have domain credentials to do the repair.
Yep.
So connecting, and that's going to fail for the reasons that.
Well, Shane just brought up, yeah. So, okay, so again, there it is. There's the fail. Kerberos account target name is incorrect. It can't validate or authenticate because it's not part of the domain, not trusted.
All right, so now we're going to switch it over to Vincent, and Vincent is a local admin.
You know what you can do, man? Much easier. Then you don't have to type Penelope in again. You could just right-click and
It's too late. You want me to?
Nope, you're good.
You know,
Oh, there you go. Right-click.
This is for you.
Redeploy. Thank you. Whew, I feel much better.
And change that to Quintana again, apparently. To Vincent.
Which is a local admin.
Local admin, yeah. So you're going to have to know if I have a service count that does these, or you need some sort of local credential for this to work. So we're going to deploy that out. And so what it's going to do is it's going to go with local credentials. It's going to start the repair, but it needs domain account to do that. And so while that's running, I got another failed. Did I break it?
Did you include that text file?
Oh, I did not include the key that we're talking
The
about. Thank
credential. There you go. Okay, so that's the other thing you have to do.
And that's why you need a domain credential.
There you go.
All right. So we're going to go back in here and try doing this right.
Oh, time out. Do it right?
And let me go find where I saved these.
So much for preparing, right? Or practicing, was it?
There they are.
Password text.
Yeah, so make sure any files that are needed to execute as part of this are included.
Yep. So in this one, we're having the password file and the AES key. And for that one, did I only add the one? Just the text. Okay. So the password is the password that we have for domain credentials, but we have that encrypted using a specific key. So we have a key file, so we can use that to unlock the password and then make a credential object. That's what these top lines are here. It's pulling in all the files. It's building the credential object from that. If you want, I know I went over that quick. If you want to see a better breakdown, we have this blog, Secure Password with PowerShell, Encrypting Credentials. It breaks it down wonderfully on how you can do that. And then since this is sending them over with the deployment, they're just going to be in the same deploy folder that we went over.
And the nice thing is, once it's done, it will clean that up.
Oh, yes, it will delete it when it's done, so you're not putting your key file and your credentials everywhere. And we'll redeploy for real this time.
For reals? For realsies? Was that a mulligan? Did we just do a mulligan? We're taking a mulligan.
I like how right after we yell at Shane for spoiling, we screw up so bad he has to dive in and save us again.
Fix us.
All right, so that one says successful. If you come back, it's going to say, I think, false. That's just because the fix isn't instant. Like, it went through, it did the fix. It just takes a few minutes for that to come back in.
True.
So we're going to give that just a little bit, and then we're going to try 7-zip to it.
Oh, I like it. Deploying 7-zip to Penelope. How long? We tested this yesterday for, I don't know, close to like an hour, right? And it usually takes about 60 to 90 seconds is what we seem to find consistently in that range there. So,
yeah, and I'm doing this with deploy, which probably is not efficient. You could do inventory as well. All right, and then we'll try remoting into it real quick. There we go.
Type it in while I'm saying other things.
It's hard to type in the actual password while giving the wrong one.
That looks somewhat promising.
We'll see. And it will take a bit longer to log in the first time after that because it's...
True. Let's do this. Let's take a question while that's welcoming us.
All right, let's do it.
Hey guys, what are your expectations for managing the Windows 11 release? We want to control users updating and test it for a few months before migrating. I'm hoping we can use experience from the Windows 7 to 10 update prior and set up a GPO to control it. Sincerely, J. Davis.
Hey, Jay Davis.
So for Windows 11, they're not going to automatically update that one. A lot of fairly recent hardware isn't compatible with it, so it's one where they have to wait. And Windows 10 stays in support, I think, until 2025. I think around there. You still have 3 or 4 years before Windows 10 falls out of support. So there's nothing that's going to automatically go through and do the update. You're going to have to push that out, which gives you plenty of time to test. As far as that update goes, with something where it does like a major upgrade like that, our product can lose connection and it doesn't reconnect to verify that it works. So you can use our product to upgrade, but it's not necessarily going to report back as successful.
True. Now, if we talk feature upgrades in regards to that, feature upgrades, right? We suppress reboots. There's a reboot in that we can't suppress unless it's changed since I looked at it last, and that's where we lose connectivity. And we just hate giving you guys bad data. Slow machine may have lost connectivity, finished, and we said it failed because it timed out. So that's kind of one of the caveats there.
Yep.
So, apparently it looks like we did.
It did. We fixed it.
We done did fixed it.
All right, and now I'll try deploying again just in case.
Going back to this, to this trust issue. Craig M asked, "Is the fixed trust script on the bonus content?"
Oh, we can get it out there for you.
It's not. Yeah, I can put it up there. So it is. It's just a one-liner. So everything else is all about adding the key file. So in there, that's not going to build the credential for you unless you first make your key file and your text file beforehand. So you can. I'll put that up in bonus content. You can use that, but for the credential, follow the blog that we showed you.
Absolutely. Now, interestingly enough, it's successful. There we go.
We were able to deploy it.
I love it. The other thing we got to consider is, a lot of times when you come into a new school year, a new, fiscal year, whatever, you get budget for new machines. So a lot of times you are going to be removing machines and adding machines to AD. And we wanted to, show you. Obviously, you can go do that by hand, which, it works, but it's not as sexy as doing it with PowerShell. Am I saying that right?
Yeah, the ideal for this one is your image adds it to the domain at the end of it.
True.
But if you're getting a bunch of image machines that aren't automatically on there, it's probably just easier to make a CSV that just has the name and have that add it. So all this is we're specifying the OU where we want to add them. Apparently we have a lot of accounting people starting.
Wow.
I'm importing the CSV, which, let's go make sure that's a real CSV.
Do we have it? Is it there? Does it exist?
We'll find out. Yeah, computers.csv. Yep. So it's just the name, whatever the header is. Make sure you're calling that one out, and then we're compy 386 and other computer.
That's what you're giving accounting.
Yep.
I love it.
All right. So now, and then for each thing in that list, it's going to come through. It's going to add it. You need to have the name, where we're specifying the .name, the SAM account name, the path, that's the OU, and then we're setting it to be enabled by default. You can do a lot more with this. There's attributes for a whole bunch of things, or you can actually do a get AD, where you're grabbing a whole bunch of attributes and you can assign that to a variable, and you can use that as a template for adding to AD. So you just call that.
Okay.
And that it might be easier that way, but for this one, we're just going for a couple of them here.
We just want to, tempt the taste buds here on what you can do.
Run without debugging because I don't want to know if I made a mistake.
Heaven forbid.
All right, and this is another thing that it's not necessarily going to be instant.
Well, let me ask you this. Do you have to have RSAT tools on the machine to run that?
So, yeah, so the RSAT tools have to be on the machine that you're using to add it.
Okay. So if you're running this on the console, RSAT tools need to be on there because it does interact with...
Yep, and those come with the admin pack. If you're installing the admin pack, that's going to have the RSAT tools built. That's one that for Active Directory, the module for that isn't like other modules where you can just do install-module. It's you have to have the admin pack, and then from there you can... There is ways you can grab certain files and you can force that over without the entire admin pack. We've done that in webcasts. There is about emailing users that aren't connecting to the VPN.
Yeah.
We went over that one. We added that one. That way we deployed out all of those files with it and could call the module. But by default, just the admin pack is going to be required.
The tools that come with that are very useful anyway. So I would suggest you install it. Check that out.
We added both of them, and it went instantly because I said it might not.
Wow. I love that.
We'll go ahead and delete those out.
I really like those, though. All right.
Well, I think that's the end of our PowerShell.
Well, now, the other interesting thing about that is you can delete en masse that way also, right?
Absolutely. So you could do, there's a couple options. You could do a get AD computer, and you could specify an OU where you can grab a whole OU and pipe that into remove, and it will remove everything in there. Or if the same thing with the CSV, you can import the CSV and then do the remove based on that name. So as long as you have a way, the CSV is probably less needed for the remove because you know it's in Active Directory. So you just have to put the logic in to say, I'm grabbing these machines, and then you can just mass delete that you don't need.
I like it.
I'd like to add something real quick if you don't mind.
No, you can't.
Okay, since I have Lexus's disapproval, that tells me to go ahead. So you can create collections based off the last error. So when you come into your new school or your school after summer vacation, you try scanning your computers and a bunch of them have lost, in this case, the trust. You'll see the same error, and you can actually create a collection of all these computers that are displaying this behavior of not having the trust, or basically needing DNS flushed or something. You can just kind of break them down, and that way you can actually attack this problem at the collection level. So if you had broken trust collection that had 73 computers, you could just run that same script out to those 73 computers via deploy without having to go one by one. Just wanted to make sure that was called out.
Yeah.
Thanks, man.
The only caveat with that is the service account you're using for the admin has to have the same permissions. And I'm not sure if Lapse is going to work in that scenario, just because that's going to require the domain.
AD, that's right.
So even though it is a local account, that's stored on the AD, so you're going to need a local admin account or service account.
Regardless, you're going to have local access to that computer, whether you're doing it from one or from all.
True. Should we take a question?
Let's do it.
All right, dear Lex and dear Jordan, we have a different local admin password for every computer. Is there a way to input local credentials on the fly? Jordan.
Is there a way to put them in on the fly?
So that would be rough because the local credentials are part of the deployment. It's not from the key files. So if you're on the machine, it'd be easier to find those credentials than if you're doing it local. You have to have those credentials before you deploy or it's going to fail.
Yeah.
So that would be a very difficult task if each one is unique.
I mean, I guess you could have a CSV file at the computer name and the password and login for each. But that, again, would be, well, not very secure and painful.
So if the credentials are a random string of, then there's not a lot we can do for that one. If your passwords follow some sort of naming scheme based on the machine or OU, you can build something where you can have PowerShell build up the password based on those criteria. But without you'd have to have password that's not very secure because it's based on identifiable features, and it would take some. I'd have to see exactly what your system is to be able to write that out.
Yeah. Do you want to do another question before I get into really cool stuff that's beyond the PowerShell?
Get into beyond PowerShell.
Get on. Yeah, okay. So this morning, guys, I gotta hand our networking team like a high five. They have built a bulletproof system here. I tried to break DNS, and man, it was tough. But check it out, I actually did it. We went in here and we broke Elmer Fudd and Foghorn target account name mismatch. Right? I was incorrect. Target name mismatch, those kind of things. So a lot of times what happens in regards to those is you're going to see an old DNS record reporting that, Elmer Fudd actually has this IP, and that IP has been assigned to a different machine. When you see those, let me just show you how to go in and troubleshoot that kind of thing. So you're going to need to open an elevated command prompt. Help, open elevated command prompt. I already did it. And first thing you want to do, I would definitely say the very first thing you want to do is flush DNS. So IP config flush DNS. It was flush this morning, wasn't it?
It was, yeah. Oh, you had a typo. I got a drink.
And look at that. Again, me typing, guys. There you go. So flush your DNS. Make sure you got a good, clean DNS. Okay. I broke these on purpose so we know that these are not going to work. So the first thing, obviously, we're going to go ping Elmer Fudd. Okay. Now, Elmer Fudd supposedly is answering at 172, the IP address there. But why are we getting a mismatch in this case? Okay. Now, normally you'd go and do an NS lookup, right? And we'll look up Elmer Fudd. That's the equivalent of looking in an old school phone book, right? Elmer Fudd should be at this address. That's what we've got there. Now, the issue being is somebody else has that address. How do we determine this? The way we determined that was an NBT stat minus A and minus capital A, right? And then you go after the address. That's basically going to Jordan's house and knocking on the door to see if Jordan answers, or in this case, Elmer Fudd. So 172.16.99.93 in this case. Now, again, our networking team is great, so there is a chance that, well, check it out. It might have already been fixed, but it wasn't, thank goodness. It came up with Foghorn. So basically, when I went and knocked on the door, instead of Elmer Fudd answering, Foghorn did. So we know that this is a DNS issue. All right, a lot of, what's that statement? 80% of problems are DNS, and so are the other 20%. Am I saying that? I don't know how the Brig is famous for coining that phrase. So
I'm not sure which one you're quoting.
60% of the time, it's DNS every time.
yeah. All right, so we know this is a DNS issue, and that really is going to boil down to scavenging, right? So let's take a quick look at scavenging. I'm going to show you the way our crew's got it set up now. I did go in and have to break it a little bit so that it didn't fix everything before the show happened. So you go to your DNS server, and the first thing you want to do is you're going to go to your DNS manager. Okay. Now, scavenging is set in two places, right? First, you're going to go right-click on your DNS server, and you're going to go to Properties. Okay. Under Properties, you go to Advanced, Enable Scavenging of Stale Records. Now, the first time you set this up, it normally is at 7 days. I think it just defaults to 7. Nothing wrong with that. However, it's not overly aggressive. If you've got VPN people coming in and out, you may want to set it. Now, we've set ours to 3. That's pretty aggressive. And I got to show you two other things before. So remember this, right? 7 days, 3 days, right? That's your scavenging period, right? The other place you need to check is at your domain level. So I'm going to go into the web domain. I'm going to hit Properties. And then we are going to go to Set Aging. JJ, check it out. I used the highlighter just for you, man. Okay, I'm going to go to Aging. Our aging is also set. Scavenge stale records. Okay, the no refresh interval is 3 days, and the refresh interval is 3 days. What exactly does all that add up to? Okay, so in I guess maybe a perfect storm, let's say you missed the no refresh interval, you missed the refresh interval and the scavenging interval, your records would refresh in 9 days. 3 days for no refresh, 3 days for refresh, and then 3 days for scavenging. So let's say that was set to 7 days. On all of those, it could be 21 days before you scavenge. Usually not going to run in that area, but you can see how that is going to run kind of a gambit of refreshing your DNS.
There's a wide array of possibilities. The more aggressive you are, the more accurate your DNS is going to be, but you may have other issues if you get too aggressive.
Very, very true.
Yeah, particularly if you have short lease times on your DHCP.
Now, I will say this. I think it is bad, and we'll define bad in a minute, if you set your scavenging to less than your lease time. That would be bad.
Absolutely.
Like Ghostbusters kind of bad, right? Crossing the streams. So I am definitely not the authority on DNS, guys. Brig has done we have an amazing video on Happy Healthy DNS. It's very popular. Brig breaks this down in depth.
Yeah, Colby just posted the scavenging for DNS solutions on YouTube.
Thank you, Colby. Thank you, Shane. Again, I'm not the authority, but I'm telling you, it's great. These guys have got this set up so well, it was super hard for me to break. Now, the other thing you need to take a look at in regards to all this is how are your IP addresses assigned? Most of the time, that's DHCP. You do need to go to your DHCP, in this case, where that service is running. You'd right-click on the IPv4 and go to Properties. Now, under DNS, okay, I broke this so I could show this to you guys. Normally, the default is dynamically update DNS records only if requested by the DHCP clients. Okay, that means the computer's requesting it. You want to make sure yours is set to always dynamically do that, because then your DHCP server is going to be the one that's taking care of the DNS records in regards to it's assigned it, it's going to refresh it at that point. So another place you need to look at that to kind of clean that whole thing up. Thoughts?
Well, if you're looking at this and you're thinking these are unreasonably long time frames and you want to get real aggressive, you can use PowerShell to go in and scavenge every 5 minutes.
Have you done this?
So I wrote it at the request of one of our customers.
Okay.
And I ran it in the lab. It is very, very successful and aggressive.
It's really, wow.
But it's if you're still having a lot of problems and you want to make sure it's nothing with your DNS, that will go through and it'll make sure everything's clean as on the small intervals you want. That's up on bonus content.
Yeah, I'll just say this. There are some of our customers do not have control over their DNS. They are in like departmental, they're like, hey, listen, I have to do a mother may I to do anything at the root level of my domain, definitely anything with DHCP or DNS. So in that case, I would pay attention, maybe reach out what solutions that we have, like Jordan just mentioned. Sometimes you have to take matters into your own hands because you can't go to the top just because of the way your organization is broken down.
Now, Colby just posted that up for you guys. I'm just going to say this. If I was a network guy and you were running that behind my back, I'd be pissed.
I have no guarantees on the overall consequence of your network. I just guarantee that it will
work.
Absolutely clean all stale records.
Just, man, if you're going to use that, be careful, guys, because, there's nothing worse than pissing off your network guys.
Yeah, that's like Shane was saying, if you don't have access to DNS and your network people are being unreasonable, that will open up a dialogue.
That it will. So, guys, again, scavenging, very big thing, right? So once you've done that, right, obviously DNS needs to, replicate and the whole bit. You're going to want to flush your IP, do your IP config, flush DNS again on your machines. This does take some time. So once you get it in place, kind of let it run. Force the scavenging with your...
And there's also replication time.
Okay, thank you. Replication time. So there is some time. This is not instant, but it does take some time. But if you get those things set, scavenging is going to be much better. You're going to get better DNS records and resolution, and it should help eliminate a lot of these errors that you are seeing in inventory. Do you want to take some questions at this point?
I don't know. Do you? Do you really?
I suppose we could.
I mean, if
we
you'd like,
should.
we have a couple.
Okay.
Hey guys, I know you support LAPS, but we are looking at a PAM solution, which is not to be confused with PAM from the office, different thing altogether, that has an API for password retrieval. Is it possible to query for these and use them, or is this the same answer as the on-the-fly response? Sincerely, Craig M.
So
Okay.
if the API is on the local machine, if you're able to still scan against that machine, you could write a PowerShell script that will hit that API to pull the information you want. And
So you could deploy it.
You could deploy, or use the PowerShell scanner if you can't do that. But if it's one of those, if this is happening and you need a local admin to work, then it would be the same on the fly. As long as you can still reach the machine, you can use PowerShell, the PowerShell step, to absolutely query that.
Okay, so both things in both cases, right? One, the deployed package is running on the end user's machine, so that information can't be passed back and forth easily by any means, right? Whether that's the deploy package or the scanner. So that's why it would matter if you can do it on the end user's machine. And
if you do run that with the PowerShell scanner and then grab the password that way, it is going to put the password in our database, which is, it's accessible to who has access to the machine, so there is a potential security risk if you're pulling those passwords back. It will be clear text.
Yeah, be careful. Yep. What else we got?
We have one more question for you guys. Gentlemen, how to shul Windows machines outside my domain and on my LAN. We're sporting many Windows 7 Dell PCs we could never join to the domain officially due to write filters on them. PDQ doesn't detect these devices even when scanning by network range. Ping before scan disabled on PDQ server. Sincerely, Hunter I.
All right, I'm a little confused. So they're on your LAN.
It says they are not. Outside. So they are outside the domain and on the LAN?
So if they're on the LAN, we should be able to do network discovery.
Absolutely, but he says that's
if it's been assigned an IP, network discovery would find it unless it's not responding to a ping, right? So it does need to respond to a ping, and obviously all the same firewall ports and that have to be open on these machines for them to be able to be managed. But
even if the firewall ports weren't open, it would still find it with the network scan, if not necessarily connect, right?
okay, network scan goes out and does a ping, right? So it's not answering a ping.
Oh yeah.
Doesn't know it's there, so it needs to answer a ping. That's probably the first biggest,
so
right?
if it's on your network, the network scan should find it if it responds. So it's hard to answer to know exactly what the setup on those machines are, but it sounds like it's not responding the way that we would be hoping. It doesn't have to be on Active Directory.
Yeah, you can add workgroup machines. I mean, we can do that. If you go here on computers, add computers, right? Okay, network discovery is going to go run the ping. You can add them by name. The only thing you're going to want to do if you add them by name, so we'll just add Jordan's gaming PC, right? Gaming. I don't know why I should. Wow, I actually typed that.
You did
Jordan Gaming. There was no S, but okay. You do want to make sure when you add that you've got the local admin credentials that you add it with. Okay. Obviously, this is going to go try and find it. I don't care that it's not there, but I'm going to say add it anyways. And so it's going to go add that machine, Jordan's Gaming PC. It's going to try and connect and not find it in this case. But it should, again, the big thing, make sure those machines answer a ping, and that should open, well, actually, you know what? Make sure all those ports are open on those machines, and you'll be able to work with them.
You have the important question from Frank of how can he get this shirt. This is not one that we made. I just found this online, so you should be able to find it. I don't know how much it costs. That was
$1 million.
But we have another option. Someone suggested that you could win it from Jordan in the MMA ring.
I like it.
Ooh, I
I'm
like
liking
that.
this.
My money's on you, Jordan.
We have enough room to have a little octagon down here in the studio.
Yeah, I think it could work.
Octagon. I love
It's
it.
expensive.
Do we have any other questions? Or
That's it, buddy.
That is it. We're supposed to wrap it up now?
All right, well, let's wrap it up by talking about the new packaging process.
Oh, that's right.
That's right. If you would like to have some input, you can vote on some of the package library requests. I've got the link in the chat. In fact, hang on, let me see. Yeah, I'll put it in there one more time. Feel free. We'd love your input. Absolutely.
Well, guys, I appreciate you watching. We hopefully have schuled you or schooled you on some Windows stuff. I'm Lex.
I'm Jordan, PDQ.com.
Thanks for watching.
Thanks for joining our webcast today. Congratulations to Hunter I and Jay Jordan, winners of PDQ swag. Send us your info at webcast@pdq.com. Thanks again for joining us, and we'll see you.
Are we still streaming?
Shouldn't be.
I'm still getting data. Oh, we're still getting data.
All right, I'm ending.
Okay, I'm going to have to cut the end of this off. Also,
Sorry, it was something weird.